right.
Okay, so there's me, Ankur Tewari, and there's Hanumankind. What's your real name, bro?
My name is Suraj Ankur.
Suraj.
Yeah,
That's a
very
nice
nice
name.
to meet you. Yeah, it's a, it's the one that my parents gave me. I'm okay
So
with
how
it.
did you come up with Hanumankind?
Man, it's a kind of a bringing together of both worlds, if that makes sense. Like mankind and
Hmm.
like Hanuman. I guess is just a name that you see or hear around a lot, no matter where. Over here, no matter where, no matter what you do, no matter what backgrounds you're from, it kind of is just there. So,
Hmm.
it's yeah, just bringing that two together and then making music to bridge it. You feel me?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. Because there's a story about Hanuman putting the sun under his armpit,
See,
right?
I feel like the names, that's why like might have like, subliminally somehow came there because we was trying to reach the sun thinking that it was a mango, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm just trying to carry mountains, bro. You know what I mean? Just from one side to the other. What about you,
Nice.
man? This is just it is your first and last name.
Yeah. But I should come up with a cooler name, no? It's like not cool enough.
Dude, I feel like it rolls off the tongue really smoothly. I mean, that's me. I think it's really cool because my full name, if that was my stage name, I feel like I'd be met with some glances and stuff. So I feel like this
Yeah.
is cool, man.
I was once I used to many years back I used to fiddle with what's that thing, Fruity Loops,
Yeah, I felt
and I
all
had a
right.
DJ avatar called DJ Matadi,
Oh damn.
and we used to just
Okay.
I used to make such bad music that people pleaded with me to stop doing that.
Damn, bro. I
You know,
mean,
when you get a new software and you just use every possible setting in that,
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
I was doing that, like reverse sounds, all the reverbs to delays to, like, it was crazy. I couldn't hear that music. I wish I had some of those CDs now just to see how
Speaking
bad they
of,
were.
since I've never heard that if there's one thing that I would like to hear from you, because you make amazing music as it is. Now we're sitting here. That's the shit I want to hear, though. You got to find those vaults, man, and see what that has to offer. Sample some of that.
You should sample some of my music and make something out of it. It'll be fun.
Hey, hook me up. Like I said, if I can find those FL files, though, that's what I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to, bro. I'm gonna. Yeah, man.
So how did it start with you? Like, how did you get into music first, and then into, was it always spitting words over beats, or was it something else? What was your scene?
Man, so the thing is, when I was in high school, I mean, I had the group of friends that I was with, the people that I mean, I guess it was also a cultural thing because high school majority was done in Houston, Texas.
Mm.
So though I am from Kerala, though that's I'm a Malayali boy through and through. We have I bounce around the world a lot, and high school that formative time of where you form a lot of your you know musical cornerstones. Like we it's there's just a lot of poetry and rap and hip hop that was kind of going around the place.
Mhm.
Like Houston it's very diverse. So, I started off as kind of like a metalhead at first. And,
Mhm.
I was heavy into like skateboarding and shit and trying to be like a sponsored skateboarder while I'm like being Malayali as fuck over here, just being celebrating Onam on the side. You know what I mean? It was awesome. And then I'm sitting here, this like we used to freestyle a lot. So
Mhm.
freestyling was something that like actually a really good friend of mine, Raj, was like kind of got me into it. And it was just more like, just put on a beat and when the scenario is right, just try to piece words together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we did that. And that was where it kind of started. It was just fun. Yeah, I didn't
Mhm.
really want to make music. I just wanted to try and be as creative with my words as possible. The actual trying to make music came after I worked corporate for some time and tried to take the route of, you know, go get a job and build a resume and do everything, which was, I mean, we could do that, but I've I decided to take my calling and I don't think I was really built for that either. So that was just recently, right before the pandemic, or right on the cusp of pandemic. Yeah.
Oh, nice. And
Yeah.
how long have you been making now music professionally?
I'd say like yeah, end of 2019, beginning 2020, right? So
Wow, how
yeah,
exciting.
I mean, if that's what you want to call it, it's been hectic for sure. It's because not having any musical background at all, and then going into somewhere where I just like to write. I've always been into poetry, so it's like that was quite the jump, and it's been hectic for sure. It's been fun, but yeah. But what about you, man? Like, what's the background? If I can get more insight, other than what we see on the outskirts of Ankur Tewari, like
Yeah.
what's behind the man, the myth, the legend? Yeah.
No, I've been doing it for so long. Once I remember I was playing in the weekend and I realized that my career probably is older than most of the people who were there to see and watch me.
Right. What year was
So
this?
I started making music professionally 98, but before that I was in college. I was kind of doing some gigs here and there. I was in college in 95 and I was playing at some restaurants and doing some like wedding gigs. Those days there were no bands. We used to call ourselves the orchestra.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so
Had
we
to
were in the
practice it that way, huh?
orchestra with the keyboard and the octapad, that
Right.
vibe.
Right.
And
Right.
singing in weddings sometimes, or like there was a weekend gig in Bhopal. I was doing my college in Bhopal
Right.
at a restaurant. I was singing songs. I was singing Hindi songs, film songs, ghazals, some of my own songs, and it was just good money. It was, I think, 500 rupees a night, which is a lot. A
Back
thousand
then.
rupees a
Yeah.
week is
Yeah. Yeah.
huge money, and then
Yeah.
they would give me food and pick up and drop. So it was, I was a rich kid in the hostel.
Yeah. 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 For college, man, you're the guy. You're the guy with the hookup. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was good fun. Yeah, so from there, I think organically things just kept on moving in some direction. I was quite stubborn that I wanted to do this, and I don't know why. I just kept on doing it, and
Yeah.
it kept on taking me from one adventure to another, and then here we are chatting
That's
on
beautiful, bro.
internet.
I love it. Yeah. The internet's, we've come a long way. No, but so
Yeah.
then you've definitely seen a huge shift in how music is kind of presented to, speaking of the internet, man, because if it's been
Hmm.
since 98 and now it's like some people purely base everything off the internet.
Yeah.
And like, how do you feel about that though, man? Like,
I mean,
is
it's
it
amazing. It's exciting. It's beautiful. It gives you so much hope, because when I was starting out, it kind of didn't make any sense to make music because you needed money to, like, print CDs or tapes, and
yeah,
uh, the studios were expensive. There was no software. There were no computers that you could use, like that could take the load, right? So you have to
yeah,
go to a studio, which would cost you money. You would be we were recording on tape, so that would be expensive. So we had to be very, very careful of what we are doing. All my early demos were on spool or on DAT tapes,
right.
60 minute or 120 minute. Then that too also had the, if the more expensive one were uh, had some like coating on it that would make it last for longer.
So studio
And
time was like very precise. You had to make sure you
very
got,
precise. Like
yeah,
even now when I go to the studio, like I'm kind of prepped. I don't spend much time in the studio because come from that old school thought of like, you know you need to be prepped before you get
right,
in.
right,
And it's kind of really stupid. Even like when I take pictures on my phone, I can only click one picture. I don't take tuck, 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 tuck. I don't do those, what do you call them,
right.
like dig, dig, dig,
Yeah,
dig.
yeah, the flash photos, right, right.
Yeah, I can't do that. I feel like it's wastage of space. So I'm still used to the 32 in a camera roll vibe.
Hey man,
So
but it does make for some beautiful pictures too.
yeah, but like it's just like it's a different approach. So to answer your question, it times now are really exciting because there's so much you can do and you can reach so far with
Yeah,
such little effort. So if you put in the correct amount of effort, you can probably make the aliens listen to your song
right.
wherever they are,
Right.
So
Channel
it's
some
really
frequencies
exciting.
that way. I love it. No, that's
Yeah, so
that's
it's
that's
exciting.
very very true, man. Because I remember when how we used to think about music was, people used to be trying to sell mixtape CDs and
Mm-hmm.
like their music, their rough drafts, like when you're walking around or in school and stuff back in the day, and you're like, what? Like this was the hustle. This was the idea that used to come because you're physically selling and you're
Yeah.
making that transaction. But now it's just like, if anyone, spends a little bit of time and knows how to tweak, or make a unique sound, with the music or the art that they're creating, there's so much you could do, and you could, the reach that you can have and maximize is pretty incredible, man. So it's good to see.
Yeah, it's exciting, like because I feel like there a lot of times there are conversations about in, people get really emotional about nostalgia and they say that was good or this is good or this is what's better. I feel that it's different and it's changing and it's exciting to see how things can change, and if you can change with times, it's amazing. If you can't, then you'll be one
Oh
of
yeah,
those people who are still moping about it used to be like this and
yeah.
now these young kids are messing it up.
Yeah. Now, see, the thing is, change is the only constant, and
Yeah.
the sooner you come to terms with that, the better. But at the same time, something that I notice about how you do your music, you're like very fiercely independent with, and the sound and the style that you have is very like, it's you, man. So in that sense, it's not like, we were talking about being able to adapt and evolve with the change, but you still have something that very much makes you you. And how do you kind of stick to that? And or what's the process that comes with being able to create at that kind of level while maintaining the sanctity of what you've worked so hard to preserve?
I feel like, like it's true with even a lot of artists that I feel who I listen to regularly, including your kind of music and your music that you've released, is that uh, somewhere you know what your style is. Somewhere you always at the same time in the process of discovering what your style is and who you are. At the same time, somewhere you know what it is. You know what you like. You know why you're choosing this take and you're letting the other
Or
take go, or why
yeah,
you're liking a certain sound and you're not liking a certain sound. I feel some people uh, stick with it. Some people try and see the other side where they try and cater to what the demand is. I feel, uh, especially in the independent music scene, it's always about what you feel comfortable with and what you feel like putting out, rather than trying and cater to a demand. Because that's what makes you independent. Because then you're independent from any kind of instruction or any kind of code of this is how it should be. You're always trying to break it. You're always trying to find your voice, and you're trying to, and that voice also might change. Like I hear my earlier demos to earlier recorded music to earlier songs that I'd written, they were quite different from what I'm writing now.
yeah,
And that also changes with how you change, what you see, what you consume, what you are writing about changes. I feel the trick is to just stick around for a period of time and have faith in it, and then see where it goes. Sometimes it takes you to really exciting places. Sometimes, I would say most of the times you're not succeeding. Most of the times you're failing. Most of the times you have no money or
I feel
food.
that. I feel
But then if you stick around for a period of time, then you find some people and you find success sometimes, and it takes you to newer adventures. And as soon as you start feeling comfortable there, life puts you down again, and you again your nose on the ground.
absolutely, man. Yeah,
Same cycle again and again, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
that's amazing. It's great to hear, man.
So when was it the when you when your family got to know about that you do what you do?
Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you what, man. For the longest time, it was I'd be balancing jobs or I'd be doing something on the
So
side.
what
It's
kind of
like,
jobs were you doing? Let's start with that.
so I worked in Goldman Sachs for like almost 2 years. I worked
Hmm.
super corporate, try to, figure out the investment banking world, try and earn money like a real, suit
So do
and
you have
tie.
pictures? You have pictures in those clothes?
Oh, bro, I got plenty. That's the kind of shit. That's the kind of those are the pictures that my mom shows other people, being like, "This is my son." And then the pictures that I'm taking now, it's just like, I don't know who that guy is, bro. He's
Oh no.
some wilding out boy. No, but at the same time, it was it was cool, man, because it perspective work environment was
Mm-hmm.
pretty crazy. I worked in marketing. I actually was a personal trainer. I help people reach their fitness goals. I'm pretty involved in that kind of space too, because I like to, push my body and try and test out different things that we can do while simultaneously, like, indulging in extracurricular activities, if you want to say, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it was, I had the time period where, um, I was, when I was working corporate, you can't really do music like that. I used to just go do open mics, man. Back when it was
Mm-hmm.
in Bangalore, actually, I used to go and they'd be like open mics. People would just make it. The Humming Tree. I'm sure you've
Yeah.
performed, you've been, and they just have these open mics over there, and I would just go and like I would have one written verse, and then I would have the instrumental, and then I would like have one set. Like after that, I'd be like, all right, I'm just gonna freestyle. Can you guys just give me words? And people would be throwing words, and everybody like they're just like, who is this like American accented dude coming over here? But I'm like also throwing in Malayalam and stuff like
Oh,
randomly trying to
nice.
like fuck with their heads. And people are like, oh, okay, this was this. And for me, that was just, dude, that was weekends randomly just trying to do this. But then something happened in between where I was just like, I want to do this. And that was N87 actually, 2019. Because, after like kind of doing this while working simultaneously with the jobs that I was saying. So I was doing personal training and like trying to do
Mm-hmm.
this, like start a company in that realm, which, I'm still not closed-minded to, because I love the fitness realm. But I was doing this, managing a couple of clients while also like, trying to write and put together projects. And I'm more of like a project person, not just like a single person. So
Mm-hmm.
even singles itself, it's just like, I think I just gotta do this to like try, test the waters, see what it is before like a
Yeah.
bigger project kind of comes. And but because of the bit of content that I put out, I was able to get onto NH7, and it was, that set was like, even though it was like a 5 o'clock set, we had a baller time. Like it was right
Nice.
then, and the kind of engagement that I had with the audience and everything, it was just like, all right, I think I can do this. I'm feeling this. And then the transition came from the jobs that happened. I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this full time. I'm ready, full power, all ready to go. And then lockdown happened like 3 months later. I'm just like, the fuck is the world trying to do to me now, man? And now we're here though. Yeah, it's cool. Like you were saying, it's cyclical, man. Like
Yeah.
we had those lows, but during that time was like very introspective. I was able to write and kind of think about how I want to do this music stuff from not thinking about it at all. And I'm still very much figuring it out, because it's just me and the small team of like my homies that will do this. It's me and the boys within the city, and we're just piecing it together, figuring out how the sound and everything. And this is my job. Yeah, I mean,
But the news for you is you'll keep on figuring it for next 20, 25 years.
oh, for damn sure, man, for damn sure. I have no doubt about it.
It was fun. So what's the story with like Till Apes? Like how like, and I find that very exciting because like it's similar to what I have. Like I sing solo sometimes, and then I sing with my band Ghalat Family.
Right.
With you also, I see you perform solo, and then you have this band. So what's the
Yeah.
story with the band?
So Till Apes is it's um, around during the time that I've been doing music, I've come across some really incredible musicians that are within the city itself. I'm blessed to be able to have be surrounded by the guys that are now part of my band.
Mm-hmm.
Amrit Raghunathan, who is Doc Oz, he plays guitar, he
Mm-hmm.
produces, he's a great sound engineer, he handles all my
And he
sound
plays
as
many
well.
instruments, right?
Absolutely. That's also Surya. Like Surya also plays, Surya Praveen, who plays the bass guitar, who plays the guitar, synth. He does everything. Like he's been surrounded by music since day one, an incredible musician. And Sanjay, who's a drummer and just also just a badass. Philip, who plays keys, and we have Gautam, who plays saxophone. So it's like a very, very good combination of people that, like I said, because I didn't like, I haven't studied music. I don't know like the theory behind it. I'm just this guy who has you say taraboda in Malayalam. Like you can pick up on the rhythmic sense and you can be like, I can rap to that. But now these guys are, we kind of just get together and we make music. And it's like, I am a very rappy rap, like, I come from like where my roots are is a little bit heavier. I enjoy making music that will, break a neck or two. It's catharsis for me to try. And also my performances kind of resonate with that. Though there's also plenty of music which tap into the just me writing and being at peace with myself or expressing something that is very heartfelt. There's also a very primitive kind of feel to what I enjoy doing personally. And at this point of my musical, progress, I guess. So there's how I perform is that, while these boys provide a totally different insight to it. And it's full of jazz, neo soul, and the instruments that they provide and the kind of arrangements that they do is stuff that I would not necessarily be able to come across. So this is what we do over there, and it's a project that we've all been kind of working on, and it's alongside what I do. So I'm really enjoying it.
Oh, lovely. I saw you guys play at NH7. It was amazing. Just the energy, the way that you guys interacted with the audience, the musical styles being so varied. And I noticed that all the musicians were really talented because they were switching and they were doing, switching instruments, and then it was quite lovely. It's quite refreshing. And in your solo work, which was the first song that kind of shone, which you felt, okay, now this is the kind of response I wanted, I liked, and I should write more.
That's hard to say, man. Like, because I like put out a mixtape a while back on SoundCloud where it's just YouTube beats and me just writing over it. And that's kind of that's when I was working corporate, because I didn't do it more than anything. I just wanted to put something out, and it wasn't. I don't even think I had the name like Hanumankind at that point. I thought I don't know what. Maybe I did. I'm not sure. It was like at the time where I was just like, just put it out. But even that writing, that was kind of what made people pay attention a little bit, because the writing in it was also like coming from a place of just me kind of letting loose. So even if you look at that, I'll be like, all right, I was thinking about it. But I guess for me, I guess it might be, I wouldn't say Genghis. I'd probably say Genghis. Or I'd probably say Genghis. It was just like me testing the waters and being like, okay, I'm seeing the realms of like how I want to write and stuff.
That also had a video, right?
It did. That was one of the earlier ones, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And what was the other one? I think Namma Stories is also, which is very famous.
Yeah, Namma Stories is this thing that I did with Netflix. So it was that was that was like a very South Indian kind of bass sound, and of course a little bit more on the like commercialized side of how I would know about it. So but still that was also like fun, bringing out the Southern, I guess, letting them know how we do it in the South, and it was a good feeling itself. But
so how was it like that? That's kind of a mainstream gig for you, right?
Yeah, it is.
So how did it feel doing that? And your other work also, I've heard a lot of demos of yours also. I've heard some of your earlier music also, but you see the mainstream work kind of gets you new audience and gets you a new kind of audience base, pretty much.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that?
I'll tell you what, man. At first I used to have a lot of trouble with it, because I'm just like, this isn't what I would typically do. The sounds isn't typically, because there is certain standards that these guys are also trying to make in their own space, right? And there's standards in my head, and I'm coming about it. I would approach it this way. Well, that would never be something that they would say, or there's certain things I would say which they would also never consider to even include, right? I think I came to this conclusion of being like, I think a healthy balance of feeling it's not impossible to come up with a healthy balance. A lot of people like I totally get, and I see this. Some people are very stubborn in regards to how they want to go about it, being like, man, I would never. And of course, certain things you'll never budge on. But of course, it's like you are also capable of coming to this balance of being like, yo, I can
True.
create in this way and provide a side of me, which is still me, but it's also like, you're having fun with it. You're not necessarily, it's not, you're able to cater to, like you were saying, a different side, a different audience, and a different sound, which is cool. And then it's also like, don't lose sight of what you're also doing, on the
True.
side, and the message that you're trying to put together and the vision that you have. And as long as you do that and you don't necessarily find that balance, I think that's where peace comes for me. Now, what about you? Sorry, 1 second. In that
Yeah,
same
like
realms.
I always felt like I have done some mainstream work as well, which has been very successful. I've
Definitely
done
seen it. Yeah, that's
some
lovely.
like really independent stuff that nobody's heard, even from my catalog. I feel that the one thing that's common between both is that the integrity with how you approach the project, whether it's for mainstream or whether it's for independent arenas, you should try and maintain that integrity, learn how to say no, and pretty much like if you don't lose your essence, then it doesn't matter whether you're making it for a mainstream audience or you're making it for an independent kind of click. I would say that it's important that more and more people listen to your work, because it's you're making art, you're not making guns, so
Right.
it's important that art kind of reaches to more people than
Sounds like
guns are reaching out. So
100%.
yeah, so whatever means and whatever way you can make it
I like
happen,
how you put
it's
that, man. You're making art, not guns. But let
yeah.
me ask you something, man. Like, because obviously you've hit immense mainstream success too. Like, in that sense, I'm a fanboying a little bit in that sense too. But like, when it comes to now, your personal projects that you are very near and dear to, which isn't kind of touched in the realms of this. Like, does this affect that? Like, do you feel the effect in a positive or a negative way? I guess this is a little bit more of a personal thing.
I mean, it does affect, like everything affects each other. Is whatever you're doing in your independent space does kind of affect your mainstream work as well. It because you're also in the independent space. I personally feel that I'm kind of in a university. I'm learning things and I'm trying things and I'm
Always.
constantly trying to work with newer people. I like as pretty much like you. I'm not a trained musician, so I try and surround myself with interesting musicians
Yeah.
and artists. So, and when you're hanging with them and you want to work with them, so I keep on working with new producers, new arrangers, musicians, and try and see where you can discover new kind of sounds, but at the same time you write about stuff, like in the recent times I've been writing more protest music and sadder music probably than I have done in the past. Probably I was happier in heaven land earlier, so I was
Okay.
writing different kind of music. In the recent past I've not done that, but it does affect in a positive way and a negative way, because you are a reflection of who you are.
Yeah.
So people end up listening to you and they end up calling you for who you are now rather than what was successful in the past.
Yeah.
So it does affect in a positive way and a negative way, because there might be some people who might not agree with your point of view, which should be the case always.
Right.
And then those people don't call you.
You gotta have your haters too, man. Yeah.
There should be, like, if everyone agrees in the room, then there's something wrong in the
You're
room.
doing something wrong. Absolutely, I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah. Yeah.
So there should be, and that really brings about the best of me when people don't like what I do. It does like challenge me, and then it does put me in an interesting spot, at least in the dialogues that I have in my head of
All
how
right.
I could prove them wrong and uh, do, I wouldn't say better work, but different work next time.
Right. right? When it comes to making music and performing music, right? Because you also, your live performances are awesome and very interactive, right? And like, where do you feel, like, what makes you feel more, uh, I guess it brings you more joy, right? Because we were talking about your emotions are also attached to it. Is it seeing how people react to your music in first person, or is it the actual creation process of it?
So I'll be honest, like it's changed over the years a little bit. And
Yeah,
even while performing live, what kind of stage, like because I was essentially singing in hostel rooms to people's living rooms or barsatis in Delhi
yeah,
to maybe playing at an intimate restaurant to like mega stages where there are like thousands of people in front of you, where your bandmates are really far away from you.
yeah.
So just not just about playing live or recording in a studio. Definitely I love playing in intimate settings. Like you put me in a friend's living room, that would be my favorite stage. If you put me on a huge stage where I can't like see my bandmates, they're like if I call them, it will be a long distance call, it feels.
Right, right.
uh, yeah, and sometimes they put these like barricades are really far away and the audience is really far off. I
And
don't
you got to
like that.
squint to see them. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that I don't like playing that kind of stage, although I love playing that kind of stage for the attention you get, and eventually you warm up to it. Playing in on bigger stages, I've started liking it more and more that I've played. But in my ideal setting, it's give me a guitar in a small room with friends and some beers. That's my favorite stage. That's my
Okay.
favorite way of performing. How about you?
For me, my favorite, hands down, is a smaller space with fucking great sound. You know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah.
know that that sound is like inside, and two 250 like 300 people capacity, small little space
Mm-hmm.
where it's like just you, and right, you can see them right there,
Mm.
and you know that the sound is banging, and everyone's, it's running inside them.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to that scale of festival, it's more like, all right, sound is great, festival sound is great, but then people can
Yeah.
turn away, left, right, whatever. Like, it's
Yeah.
just more expansive. So I love the intimacy to be like, you could, I want you to, like, I want, when I turn my head, I want sweat to like fall on you. You know what I mean? And that makes it all the more intimate. But also, like, uh, the question that I had also liked, I'll rephrase it, is more whether the live performance or the actual creation process is what we lean
Okay.
towards, right? So it's like, when it comes to, like, where do you feel more excited? Do you feel more excitement, like I said, showing it in the live performance, finally seeing how people receive something that you've nurtured and
Mm-hmm.
brought together, and then also before it actually came to existence, like,
Mm-hmm.
the creation process of it? Where do you find more joy in that?
No, the one thing that's common in playing live and while you're creating is that you've lost the concept of time and space.
Mm.
You're not there. So I always feel that a lot of the songs that I have written, they've come to me rather than I have written them consciously. So that happens both when I'm performing live and I'm creating.
Yeah,
Uh, Also, what I have done, at least in my career, is that I create something, then I start playing it in small settings, bigger settings. Sometimes I've played the song for like the one song I recorded recently, Khamoshi, that I wrote some like 10 years back.
wow.
And I kept on performing it live. And then I suddenly felt, okay, now I should record it. And
The
that
time is
song has
right.
changed its form. The structure
Yeah,
has changed, the tempo has changed, some chords have changed, some lyrics have changed over the
yeah.
years. And I felt that now it needs to be recorded. I've always felt that about songs, they need to be recorded. You know when a song has to be recorded. And I love the term release because it really
Yeah,
releases from a system, and then
100%.
it belongs to the world. A lot of the songs, they take their own lives. They have a different meaning to different people. People take it differently. People love it, they own it, they quote their own stories with it. Sometimes some people have told me that they've had babies because of the songs. New life has come into the world.
Yeah.
so so things have changed, people's lives have changed, because so after that after you've released it, I feel it's not really mine anymore. But till the time I've not released it, it's totally mine. So the creation, I would feel that is my most exciting phase, because it is sometimes over a period of time, over a long period of time. Sometimes
Right.
it's a short period of time, but it's really yours. And the moment you record it and it's there and you release it to the world, I don't feel that personally attached to the song anymore.
Right.
So for me, then it's become one with the universe. Then it's everybody's. So
Yeah.
then I'm just singing a cover version of my own song every time.
Yeah. It's your
And what's your
baby.
process like?
Of
Like
course.
how do you approach your songwriting?
Uh, it's very spur of the moment most of the times, right? But of course, there's definitely things. Uh, Sometimes you feel strongly enough towards an idea, a concept, a message, or a feeling that you just want to write about and kind of express yourself. I uh, always got my notes out, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. My
Mm-hmm.
phone, that's one thing, like this
So do you
shit's.
scribble or do you type?
I write a lot, actually, man. I write, I use my, I mean, like right over here, bro. At the root of it all, it's just fucking scribbles and like
Amazing.
fucking like always like, you gotta write right. But see, when you're on the road or when you're moving,
True.
I'm always gonna have. Though I do take this when I also like.
That's what I love about technology, because now whenever you get an idea, at least like, earlier before smartphones, it was difficult to remember ideas. I used to even
Yeah,
carry a dictaphone at one point.
yeah.
But these voice notes are amazing because you can just like sing it into the
So
phone and
good.
then you have it there.
So good, man. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like it's so whenever I feel, even if it's just a basic concept, without the thing and sing a melody, sing a hook, and or just write down a line or two. So that's what I meant. Like on the fly, a lot of stuff comes,
So
and
play me something from
then
what you have last, like
oh
among your
man,
last notes.
I will it might be a lot of mumbling and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, go for it. Because it eventually, when it becomes a song, it'll be fun, to hear that. Oh, that's the song I
Is
heard
this
in the voice note.
what is this? Okay, what is this? You're not gonna like.
Put it close to the mic. Yeah, can't hear it.
We were just humming a tune at this point. What is even happening? I can't see. Some of these are so
Yeah,
incoherent. You won't even, and
crazy.
then I'll
है ना?
literally be like, "This is a moment right now." While some of these will be very clear because I'll be sitting in a room and I'll be alone.
This is what I think has happened to
Literally,
photography as well. In photography, the same thing has happened. Like now, with digital photography and your phone camera being on your phone,
yeah,
when you take a picture, everyone has their photo face on, and they know their moves. So all the pictures look the same. But earlier pictures used to look like this, what you just played
yeah,
me,
yeah,
because they would be like in the middle of some action candid somewhere there, and those analog pictures from earlier, they
yeah.
used to look like this.
And
What
it has this
your
authenticity to it, man. Like it's so raw at that point. And this is for me to really like to the other to another person. It's a bunch of noise, it sounds whatever. Like it's just a little humming, or I might be mumbling something at this point. Sometimes there's people around me, right? This one
yeah.
clearly people around me. So I was like, all right, get the idea. Yeah, I'm pulling it off this side. All right, let me just try and hum without looking like a weirdo, right? So I'm
Oh,
doing this,
nice.
and then so clearly, so I have to go sit and like listen to it. I'll be like, all right, remember the context, see how you feel, and then
Yeah.
you put it down like that. While sometimes legitimately it's also just me feeling like, oh, dude, I just want to write right now. So
Yeah.
one thing that I've been trying to like incorporate again into my life is, the essence of just writing every day, right?
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Having that habit every day. So
Mm.
like 90% of it could be shit. It's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But if you kind of surround yourself around that, what you do, I'm sure like you get that
Mm-hmm.
the more you surround it, even if it becomes boring to a certain point, like
Mm-hmm.
when the time comes for you to like actually feel it out, or when a wave happens where your serotonin shoots up and you're like, I'm want to write, I want to feel this, it tends to come a little bit easier. You tend to be able to articulate it better because, I used to be in this headspace sometimes where you wouldn't do that. You would like step away because in your head you're like, it has to be like this. It has to be like this, or I won't write, right? Or you won't do, and then but then then all of a sudden you get to ruts where because of this lack of doing it, nothing seems to be right, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh man, why is it becoming so hard? While in the meantime, if you just tend to take it a little less serious, you just like, fuck, rap about fucking, you know, eating your coffee in the morning, or like how you changed houses, like I was telling you I'm planning a movie, whatever you want to write about, whatever is happening around you, or how you practice nunchucks, I'm trying out martial arts, whatever.
Oh, nice.
You want to write that. It can be stupid, trying to incorporate certain thoughts, but then it's also like, at least if you're able to articulate something from that, then when it comes to something that you really want to put together, it tends to make it a little easier. That's what I'm finding anyway. So that's kind of the process, making sure that I ensure that the environment is more conducive for me to be able to create. And that, to me, that's more than being, super talented or super like, whatever, or being able to have pick it up on the spot, because I don't think that happens. For me, it doesn't happen as naturally as it may happen for other people. I just need to make sure that I am more, involved like that.
I hear you. And what are you working on now? Like, before I wrap this up, what's new coming?
Man, like I said, I'm a project guy, so I've been putting together something which is just what it's a project which I feel close to. It's an amalgamation of life about the pain and suffering that we had for the past 2 years collectively and individually, and then also like how I kind of envision how I want to do music, man. So I'm doing that, which I'm pretty excited about, primarily, but then also singles, testing the waters and different sounds and styles and collaborations with people that I wouldn't have thought I would be working with before, man. And now we are. Speaking of which, we got to bump heads, sometime in the future and see what we can create, man. If that's something that's in your,
that'd be lovely.
And yeah, so that's kind of what we're doing. And what about you? Like, what's on the way?
There are a bunch of things happening. I'm working, as a supervisor on a movie project, couple of movie projects. So they are shooting right now. I have an album coming out this year. It's called Akhar. So working on all the like it's recorded, mixed, master, everything's ready now. We have to just find a good date and release it.
Oh man!
So working with my management on that.
That's awesome.
Then I've started a music label with a couple of friends. So trying to work with new exciting artists, trying to see if we can release some interesting music. What else? There's so much stuff. I'm also writing a lullaby album for kids. So
my man, okay.
So sleep is important.
You know how to keep them when invigorate them when they're awake, but also put them to sleep when they need to too.
Yeah,
I
think a lot of parents might like it.
Bro, I'm very curious to hear this. This sounds cool. Beautiful, man. And if that's the case, then I think we have to be drawing this to a close, brother. But thank you for this extremely enriching.
No, it was lovely and it was amazing. And I was hoping that we get to chat, but usually, we are in settings where there's so many other people, you don't get to chat with anybody this intimately. So it's nice that this opportunity happened because of Humming Heart. And that's lovely. And I obviously stalk you all the time. So I'll curiously seeing what's coming up next from you. And and next time when I see you in a party mumbling something to a phone, I would know that you're not a weirdo, you're just putting down an idea.
Hey man, I appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time to understand it. And dude, we will I can't wait to, out of this realm, we'll definitely meet and have a conversation. And this is very cool, but nonetheless we do have to share a drink. We will have a great conversation. And shout out to Humming Heart for making this happen. And this was a great interaction. I'm really excited for your projects. Keep inspiring me and other people around. It's a beautiful thing to see. And yeah, man, I
Chalo.
will be in touch.
Yeah, catch you soon in real life.
In real life, yeah. Enough of this technology, man. We got to get it to the books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye.
Take care, brother.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
So Kanya, you're good?
Yeah, we're good.
I think your other partner, she left, no?
Yeah,
got
she had
bored.
to get in. She had to go to a meeting, but I got everything.
Okay, love. You got everything right?
Yeah, hopefully we did okay.
Yeah, awesome. This was such a cool conversation. We got to learn so much also.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay.
Most of those questions were just off the rip, which I liked, man. You're really I love that you were able to throw it at me like that, bro. So because I was like, I wonder if it's just gonna be like, okay.
I hate people telling me what to do. So anyway, I was rebelling against it, and then I thought that would be more interesting if I really get to discover you. So that was fun.
Likewise, man. It was great insight, bro. And I can't wait to actually meet up, man. Very soon.
Lovely. See you soon. Okay.
See you soon,
Thank you, Savinay, Shonan.
Bye, Sukan.
Thanks,
See you, Savinay.
Thanks,
next time,
cheers, bro.
See you. Bye.